Hi there, I'm going to show you how to make a cobwebber broom. To get started, you need to make sure that your broom corn is soaked up to the knuckle or just past the knuckle for about 2 to 3 hours. You can work with it as quickly as 1 hour if it is in hot water. You can use a 5-gallon bucket or a flour vase or anything like that. I've also wrapped about 60 to 70 rounds of nylon onto my treadle to get that prepared for us. And the first step is to tie onto the stick, and I'm going to have the stick facing to my left. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to have the stick facing to my left. I'm just going to tie the nylon onto the end of the stick about 3 finger widths up from the end. You can do that with a double or a triple knot. It just has to be locked onto the stick. And now, rolling the stick towards myself, I'm going to cross that nylon over top of itself so that the nylon gets anchored onto the stick here. And if this part looks like a sort of a messy sort of bump or a lump onto the stick, that's actually okay, because that will help to give the broom corn a little something extra to hold on to. I always like to cut my tails here, my thread tails, just so those don't come back to get us later. So wrap this around 6 or 8 times or so, and you want to be able to pull up with both hands. If you think of your broomstick like handlebars of a bike, pull straight up with everything you got. If it does not slide off the stick, you'll know that you're ready to go. I always like to have the broom corn going in my lap in the direction I'm going to be working with, just so that I don't have to bend down to the floor every time to pick up a piece. And now I'm going to introduce the broom corn one at a time under the nylon, and I'm going to push that up all the way so that the knuckle is right here at that bump. And each time you put a piece of broom corn on, you're going to pull up until you can kind of see the broom corn sort of bite into that knuckle. You don't have to work very fast, but try to work at a steady pace so that you introduce each piece of broom corn in just side by side. Just work at a steady enough pace so that you don't let any slack in the line and allow all that broom corn to fall off. So here, what I'm doing now is working at a steady pace, putting each piece of broom corn up under the nylon, pushing it up so that the knuckles all sort of line up, one against the other, so it's knuckle to knuckle. And I'm also making sure that the cut side of the broom corn is facing towards the stick, so that all of the sort of rounded parts of the stem are facing out when you start the weaving process. That'll just make things look a little more finished, and the broom corn stems are a little bit tougher with that shiny rounded part facing out than if you have the pithy spongy part facing out. So just one at a time, I'm introducing the broom corn around the stick until my stick is covered in one round of broom corn. And for the cobwebber brooms, if they're about an inch round sticks, they should take probably about 8 to 12 pieces of broom corn or so. It's not an exact science. Each stick will be slightly different. So just keep going until your stick is covered with one round of broom corn, like mine is so. Always throw those extra broom corn down on the floor. Now I'm going to let this broom corn or the nylon rest naturally right next to the previous round, and I'm going to wrap a solid wrap of about 6 to 8 rounds here. And here again, once I get wrapped around 2 times or so, I'm pulling up on the handle like handlebars of a bike with everything I've got to just lock that broom corn down against the stick tightly. So I'm just keeping this neatly wrapped, and I'm working towards the end of the handle. And you're going to wrap this about 6 to 8 times before you start the weaving process. Every 2 or 3 rounds, just give that a good hard pull up, just so that you're introducing a little bit of tension on the line and helping keep everything nice and tight here. To start the weaving process, you're going to press your right thumb. I am right-handed, so you're going to use your dominant thumb. So I'm pressing my right thumb down onto the nylon here, and you want to press tight enough so that if you let some slack in the line, it does not come completely unwound. And you're going to prop one piece of broom corn that's past your thumb and free out at about a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to introduce the nylon under that broom corn going in the forward direction. Just roll the broom slightly towards yourself until you see where the nylon has gone over that broom corn. You're going to press your thumb on top of that piece of broom corn that you've gone over, pop the next piece up at a 45-degree angle, and go under that next piece here. You're always going to move your thumb forward to the piece of nylon or the piece of broom corn that you've just gone over so that you can hold that in place and maintain a nice steady tension. And at this point now, you're just going to go over, under every other piece of broom corn, and that's going to get your weave structure going here. So once you get back going all the way around, you'll have a choice of whatever kind of weave structure you'd like. Whether you have an odd or an even number, the pattern is going to look slightly different. So be mindful of that and be on the lookout for, if you want a specific weave pattern, you can always treat 2 stems of broomcorn like one, or if you have a particularly wide one, you can cut it in half, and you can play around with that to get several different types of weave structures going. For this one, I want to make a plain weave, so I need an odd number. So because I know what kind of weave structure I want, I am going to just treat these 2 stems like one. And that's just going to be a matter of practice. You'll be able to play around with it until you've made 2 or 3 brooms, until you kind of see what the different patterns look like and what your options are. But now I'm just wrapping this, weaving over, under, and between each round I'm always moving my thumb forward to hold that nylon in place so that it sort of helps to maintain a nice steady tension on this broom. Everything you do past this first solid wrap is sort of adding a little bit of structural stability to the broom. It's helping to hold the broomcorn tightly against the handle, but it's also decorative as well. So you can play around with it and just have different sorts of weave structures going on to the pattern as well. You can kind of mix and match several different styles of the even number and odd number. You could try a pattern where you go over 2, under 2. You can really just have fun with it after you've got that first initial solid band down here. Continuing to weave over, under. If you have an odd number and you end up with this plain weave, the pattern will start to jump out at your eye after you've done about 2 or 3 rounds of weaving. So you'll be able to see if you've got off of the pattern or not. You can hopefully already see at this point how sort of regulated that weave structure goes. And the plain weave, you can always check your work because you're always working over, under. You're always working opposite of the previous round on whatever stem of broomcorn you've just done previous with regard to the over, under interlacing. You don't have to pull with everything you've got, but you do want to keep this under pretty steady and tight tension just to make sure that things don't start to kind of slip back or kind of come apart in your lap. And you can sort of tell how tight or how loose to pull on the broomcorn. You'll be able to tell how much tension it can handle before it's about to break or get sliced with the nylon. You can cut it pretty easily by pulling too hard, so do be careful of that, but you'll be able to tell when it's too much. I'm going to finish this broom off now because I'm getting close to my short pieces of broomcorn here. To do this, I'm going to wrap around a solid band about 2 times of the nylon, and then I'm going to take my jerk string from around my neck and I'm going to put this up under the nylon, and I'm going to you want about 2 or 3 inches of the jerk string without the knot up under the nylon with the short loop coming up outside of the handle portion of the broom. And now you want to wrap around about 6 or 8 times, and at this stage you do want to pull pretty much with everything you've got. You want to be able to pull a pluckable note on here. And I always say you want a minimum of 6 to 8 wraps, but what I try to do is match the number of wraps on the beginning so it looks more or less symmetrical here. I'm just going to do about 2 more wraps here. And then once you get back around to the jerk string, press your thumb down tight on this so that if you let the slack on the line, it doesn't come completely unwound because there's nothing holding this on here now. You're going to cut your tail here off of the treadle, then you can let go of the treadle. Isolate the loop of your jerk string. You're going to take the cut end and put that through the short loop of your jerk string, and then you are going to squeeze your thumb down past the opposite side of that jerk string. With your free hand, you're going to untangle this. It'll be all tangled up because you are working in a spiral here. You're going to take the long end of that jerk string, put it under your shoe or under your foot, and then pull up with the handle up to the sky. And that is going to pull this underneath all of those solid wraps so your nylon is locked in here. And there you have the weaving of your cobwebber broom. From this point on, then you're ready to do the stitching on the long ends, and after that you can trim up your cap ends here, trim up your bristle ends, and then also just trim up anything that you don't like the looks of. So good luck. Thank you.